News Talk 610 AM and 102.1 FM. KVNU.
It's now 5:05 as we're into hour 2 of KVNU's For the People show. I'm Will Theorite with our top local stories. Well, happening earlier today, emergency crews responded to Ridgeline High School on a report of an unconscious student. The incident was reported just after 12 along the river in front of the school. A 15-year-old girl was with other students when she was hit in the head with a rock and became unresponsive. Now, she began to regain consciousness as law enforcement arrived at the scene. Cache County Sheriff's Lieutenant Michael Sean Barchi said initial evidence suggests the incident was accidental. After the girl was hit, the other students alerted the school nurse, who then called 911. The girl was alert and talking with deputies. She and the other students told authorities that they were playing along the river near the bridge when she was hit. Now, Barchi said the incident appears to be a case of kids being kids. In other news, authorities have identified the 40-year-old Utah man who was found dead Sunday following a multi-agency search in the mountains east of Preston. Franklin County Coroner Jordan Webb identified the deceased as Sefton Patrick Wild. Now, Wild was last seen last Thursday in Lewiston and then reported missing Saturday after family members discovered his vehicle parked near the popular Willow Flat campground. Now, search and rescue teams from Franklin and Cache counties, aided by search dogs, spent about 12 hours scouring the rugged area before locating Wild's body Sunday afternoon. Now, Webb confirmed that no foul play is suspected in the death. In his obituary, family members remembered Wild as a warm, compassionate man and a master of bad dad jokes who fiercely cherished his loved ones. Now, celebration of life is coming up Friday at 3 o'clock, and it will be held at Webb Funeral Home in Preston. And finally, police departments across the state are urging the public to be on alert of a widespread text messaging scam claiming to be from state courts or local law enforcement regarding unpaid traffic violations. Now, agencies across the state say that the fraudulent messages often include threats of license suspension or court action. Now, the texts typically contain malicious links or QR codes requesting payments or sensitive personal or financial information. Now, authorities emphasize that legitimate courts and law enforcement agencies will never contact individuals by text message to demand payment or request personal details through unofficial links. Now, police are advising anyone who receives one of these texts to delete it immediately and avoid clicking on any links. Now, residents unsure about the legitimacy of a citation can always contact their local law enforcement agency directly to verify the notice. Well, these clouds have brought some isolated showers through the area, and it's left temperatures in the mid-50s today. Tonight will drop into the mid-30s. Then some warmer weather coming tomorrow. A little bit more sunshine expected for Thursday as temps will get back into the low 60s. Friday, hoping for temperatures in the high 60s to low 70s. And it looks like it's still going to be a really nice weekend with sunny skies Saturday and Sunday, with temperatures staying right around the low 70s. And weather this hour brought to you by Logan Extermination. If you needed a little help greening up your lawn as we head into the dry summer months, call Logan Extermination. They can help with a pre-emergent fertilizer application that'll keep your lawn green this summer. Call Logan Extermination today to sign up, 752-8450. And I'll have another check of local news coming up at the bottom of the hour as KVNU News Time is now 5:08. And more of KVNU's For the People show with Jason Williams is coming up next. I'm Will Theorite for KVNU News.
This is Matt Robbins with Quality First Insurance, and we are now Alera Group. This is great news for you. Now you have more choices and strength of a top national broker in your corner with our local personal service. Every situation is unique. Now we can tailor coverages from deductibles and limits to risk management, so it fits you even better. Let's compare options and tighten your program. Same friendly faces, same local office. Call 435-752-0101.
The Above and Beyond Salute, sponsored by Firehouse Subs, recognizing first responders and other deserving individuals in our community. Friday mornings at 8:30 on News Talk KVNU.
Hola, Cache Valley. It's time to turn up the music, bring your appetite, and celebrate at this year's Cinco de Mayo Community Celebration, happening Saturday, May 2nd from noon until 8 at the Cache County Fairgrounds. Feel the energy of live music, from mariachi rhythms to crowd-favorite performers. Come hungry, because you'll find dozens of vendors serving up incredible food, from authentic Mexican favorites to sweet treats you can't get enough of. And bring the kids, because this is a full-on family fiesta. Bounce houses, climbing walls, piñatas, and plenty more to keep them smiling all day. Best of all, admission is free and everyone is welcome. This year's Cinco de Mayo celebration is presented by DD Auto and Salvage. DD Auto Salvage gives you the most money for your old metal. Presto Products, now hiring. Apply for a career today at Presto Products in Lewiston. And Members First Credit Union, large enough to provide the services you need, small enough to provide the service you deserve. Bring your friends and family to this year's Cinco de Mayo Community Celebration, Saturday, May 2nd from noon until 8 at the Cache County Fairgrounds.
Welcome back to KVN News for the People. Hour 2 of today's show. It is Wednesday, April 29th. I'm Jason Williams, 53 degrees here at the Radio Ranch. And a lot to talk about. Snowville getting some additional firefighting resources. Probably good timing, considering what I'm hearing, at least, from the State Forester's Office on our wildfire season. It's been, a little wetter than anticipated. It's still not wet enough, but a little wetter this spring than, some of the long-term forecasts originally had us. That's good as far as wildfire season not starting as early as, some of those February predictions that had it starting in April and possibly May. But it's bad news in that if things do dry out, and it's, odds are in favor of that, and staying dry for a long time, if that heat dome, as they call it, sets back in and drives all the precipitation around us again this summer down onto Texas, the spring rains mean a lot of fuel growth. So there's some concern about this, and through some clever granting, the Snowville area is getting a little boost. We'll talk about that later on in the show. Still on everybody's minds, and this has become honestly a statewide issue at this point. In fact, I saw candidates in the Congressional District 1 race, Democrats and the one Republican that will be running against whoever wins the Democratic primary in the Salt Lake City area. They were talking about this even today. Local races have, along the Wasatch Front, have been asked to weigh in, and some have volunteered weighing in. But it started Monday, at least, the public eye started Monday. Didn't start Monday for residents of Box Elder County, but Monday morning, more than 80 people showed up to a Monday morning county commissioners meeting. That doesn't happen, right? Ever. They showed up with signs. They showed up to protest, and what they were protesting was word had gotten out over the last several weeks in Box Elder County that a state entity, META, as it's known, whose job it is to serve as an intermediary between the military and the state of Utah and counties and cities when they work out proposals and arrangements for military readiness infrastructure. Nothing controversial about that. What became controversial is the proposal in Box Elder County is a massive, both in acreage and in scope, data center project. For those that aren't familiar with what this is, data center is basically a gigantic building-sized processor, like the little chip in your laptop, tablet, and home PCs, if you still have one of those, and you should. But it's the size of a Costco warehouse, and it produces a lot of heat. It needs a lot of water to stay cool, which, I don't know if you noticed, Box Elder County, not known for oodles of excess water, unless you're pulling it directly from the sources already we're trying to save to get it to the Great Salt Lake. Understandably, this raised concerns. The proposal itself, as I mentioned yesterday on the show, also lays out what I would say are some deserving of scrutiny, sweet deal tax incentives for the company that would, in the end operate this as a private money-making endeavor, even though it has ties to the military and military readiness. That's why META, the state agency, is involved. In the end, this is a private company. They will make money off of this. And some of the tax incentives are just, very good for them. So residents are a little concerned about that as well. One of them, for example, 80% of revenue that are collected around this project will go back to the private owners, not the county or the city. Anyway, it's a very sweet deal arrangement. In exchange for that, there's a promise of jobs, but residents on Monday also said and told us when we talked to some residents of Box Elder as well, that what they're concerned about is that, what's being sold here is this will create hundreds of jobs at first. Construction, maybe building and widening some roads out to the somewhat remote location in Box Elder County where this is, planned, which is at this point basically cattle grazing fields. After that, no one seems to be willing to make any commitments to the county on how many permanent jobs will actually be created by this project. And residents pointed to data centers that have been conducted where the entire staff full-time was 21 people. So this is a lot of tax breaks, a lot of expense on behalf of taxpayers to build the infrastructure that would have to be built out to this building. And again, other data centers employ a total permanently of less than 30 people. So now some employ more, but they're, again, the issue here is residents want to know. So the county government, I think, responded correctly. When this crowd showed up Monday, they paused the decision. They didn't move ahead on the discussion and the vote on, signing off on this. And I think it's also fair to remember the county is over a barrel here a bit as well. I've seen some accusations thrown around on social media, mainly that the county, and I don't know one way or another, but I'm saying that this is something that you have to fairly factor in. When MITA, the state agency that is basically there to coordinate infrastructure projects between the military and local governments, exactly like, this one, or a while ago there was a road that needed to be repaired out in western Weber County, headed out to the military facility there on the western side, and MITA had to get involved on that one. When it was, in the end, a Weber County and Ogden City project, just extending, an extension of the 12th Street revamp that was happening. There is, when MITA gets involved, there is, I guess, an unspoken or unwritten expectation that the state and counties and cities won't argue. Because this is, a defense issue, a military readiness necessity. And normally that's what happens. A few questions are asked, and the project is approved, and things move ahead. But in this case, again, massive public pushback on this. And I think it's also worth noting public pushback on data centers at large has not been restricted to red states or blue states or Box Elder County. In fact, I did some counting this morning. About half of the data center project proposals from this year alone have either been paused or canceled. Some of them were, weeks away from actually starting construction when public pushback got so overwhelming that the rug was yanked out from underneath the project. There's a whole hour we could spend on why, people are reacting to this. My guess is it's, again, a question of what's the real benefit to the community in contrast to the amount of money that these data centers are making already very wealthy tech companies usually. In this case here in Box Elder County, we're talking about something that, the military is saying that this private company needs to be up and running with this data center because it's a military readiness issue, or at least that's the implication when MITA comes to the county with the proposal. But again, this in Box Elder County, this still would be a private company operating for profit. and getting some pretty sweet tax incentives to do so from the state and the county. So reasonable questions from the public on this one. And again, on top of that, there are questions of water, permanent jobs versus just the original construction jobs. What are we exactly talking about here? And that's what the public wanted to know on Monday. The commission rightfully said, okay, let's pause this. They've scheduled a more public hearing, which will be at the Box Elder County Fairgrounds in Tremont, Monday, May 4th at 4 p.m. This is an open to the public. There will be presentations, representatives of MEDA, the county, the planners of this Stratos data center, as it's called, project itself, and Q&A opportunity for the public. We have been told, by the way, that the county in their press releases said not every commission member who was a part of the vote that was supposed to happen and got delayed on Monday will be there in person, but they will all be available either via audio and video, if not there in person. And there are 3 commissioners, and I'm assuming other representatives from Box Elder County, Brigham City, Tremont will be there as well. But that is open to the public. That is Monday, May 4th at 4 p.m. in the Fine Arts Building at the Box Elder County Fairgrounds in Tremont. And that's where things stand right now. But I mentioned in hour 1, jokingly, but I'm kind of not joking, but I have reached out to everyone here. I've reached out to county officials, commissioners. I've reached out. I made a second call today to the MIDA communication spokesperson or communication specialist, their official spokesperson based in Colorado. No one wants to talk about this. And so I'll keep trying. We'll keep trying to get someone here on the show. Listeners have been asking, and I've even had some people forward numbers and contact information onto me, and I appreciate that. I've followed up on all of it. I've done my own digging to find contact information, and I've left calls and emails and texts with everyone. So we'll keep you posted if someone comes forward before Monday. But I'm guessing they're going to try and lay low until Monday's what is basically going to be a de facto public hearing. And if it's anything like this previous Monday's experience for the commission, with the 80 people showing up with protest signs and everything in the morning in the rain at a commission meeting, something no one ever attends voluntarily usually, except the commissioners, I'm guessing there's going to be a big crowd, and I'm guessing that officials are going to be getting another earful. But hopefully what comes out of this is people have a lot more information about the project. So that's where things stand. I reached out to some experts, though, since we weren't able to get any, elected officials involved in this, or so far at least, representative of MEDA on the line with us. I'll keep trying. So hopefully by the end of the week we can do that. That said, I decided to reach out to some experts on data centers, and I found a couple who were actually, pretty eager to talk about this because it's their area of expertise. It's their area of research, and researchers love to kind of impart information they've learned through their research. They get excited about it. So I made some phone calls, and I got some great information on what exactly this project is by design, not necessarily what it's for. Again, with MEDA involved, those details might be something that we don't learn. I'm guessing more information at least will be coming on why MEDA is involved, why they're saying, to the county, this needs to happen. It's a military readiness issue. I'm guessing we'll know more, but don't expect to learn every single detail on this one because it is, oftentimes something they can't share publicly. But this is what I found out from the design. This is a way you can think about what's being proposed in Box Elder County. It's because one of the major concerns is there were some early reports saying, look, these data centers use so much electricity. We're not sure the Northern Utah electrical grid can support this. Well, what's been learned since then, as information has come out about the Stratos data center project proposal, is that in the end, this is going to be a good way to think about what this project is going to be is basically a 9 gigawatt power plant within a data center. And again, I'm not saying this with any intended bias against or for whether or not something like this is a good idea or something we should be doing here in Utah. That's up to you. What I'm saying here is this is what is being proposed. And the way this would work basically is you have an existent natural gas line that can be tapped into in the same area where this data center is being proposed, and I'm assuming that's why it's been proposed there. And then within this data center, and I don't know enough about the project to know if within is going to be actually within, all one building. I don't know. It might be 2 buildings, might be 3, might be 8. But either way, what they'll need, because so the way I ran across this, or what made me curious about this, is there was a spokesperson who said not one bit of Utah's electricity will be tapped into for this project. And my first thought was, that person's lying. You can't run a data center without electricity. But what I found out was that the project includes construction, and I'm not exaggerating here, the construction of what is basically a natural gas powered electricity generating apparatus within the project, meaning it'll be on site. Again, maybe all in one building, maybe in 8 buildings, I have no idea. But on site, part of this project will be, tapping into this natural gas line that already exists in the area, and setting up, basically natural gas powered electricity generating turbines. So of course that means emissions, methane, things like that. So that's one issue that I'm sure the public is going to bring up. But it also means that the electricity that they need is more than the entire state of Utah uses. So that's a lot of emissions. And this is separate even from what I think are reasonable concerns about water and air quality, and of course, the economic side of this. Are there enough permanent jobs created to make it worth the very sweet deal tax incentives that this proposal included? That's basically where we're at. So again, 9 gigawatts of power. The state of Utah, entire state of Utah, in the average year uses between, there have been years recently where we only use between 6 and 7, but the average is between, we've used less than this, but the average for the state of Utah is between 5 and 6. And so that is roughly double what the entire state of Utah consumes in electricity. That's homes, factories, hospitals, and also this 41,000 acre proposal. To be clear, this 9 gigawatt, I learned this. This came, by the way, from and you can find him online. This is a man named Akasha Gupta, and he is a data center guru researcher. So he basically looks at all the data center projects and says, here's what's being proposed as a way. Now, and be clear, he's a supporter of constructing data centers. He thinks we need to do it. He thinks that it's an important thing to do. He's not even talking about it from a military readiness perspective, as is the case that's being made with this project. He's talking about it just as a business venture and the future of computing. So he's a supporter, but he says, these are the details of this project. 41,000 acres in Box Elder County. Phase 1 will be, in the end, just a 3 gigawatt project. But full build out, as it's completed and is fully operational, they reach 9 gigawatts a year, more than twice what Utah, the entire state, consumes across homes, factories, hospitals, and 48 existent data centers already. We have smaller data centers already here in Utah. So more than twice the Utah statewide consumption of electricity. And that power, again, will come from the Ruby pipeline. If you're not familiar with that, this is like a 700-800 mile interstate natural gas line. Already crosses through the northern corner of Utah here, and heads from there off to Wyoming and eventually Oregon. I can't remember where it takes the turn. And the proposal is to tap that pipeline. It's already in the ground, so they tap the pipeline. And according to META, in their press release, county commissioners, they told county commissioners that this project will, quote, not take one electron from Utah's public electrical grid. And so those are the details of the AI build out. Now, when I spoke with Gupta, he said something he's looking into, something he's been paying attention to. He says the workaround on, being able to say this won't take one electron from Utah's existing public electricity grid is, again, building that gas pipeline centered power production on site. So you build your own power plant next to the data center. And 9 gigawatts is a lot. So they'll generate that from natural gas. And this, keep in mind, too, that this proposal as writ means this is a 9 gigawatt power plant generating more electricity and consuming, the data center then consuming more electricity than the entire state of Utah uses on private land, privately owned, with some pretty significant tax incentives for that private entity to build this and then profit off of it. So the promise there to residents usually is it'll create X number of jobs. And that, again, brings us back to what an issue that was raised Monday by the crowd there at the commission meeting is people are skeptical of what they're being told on that. Are we talking permanent jobs? Are we talking, that a few thousand people will be employed during the construction years, but after 4 years when it's done, we're talking 20, 30 people are employed there. What is it? And they want answers on that. So, again, project wouldn't draw from the public grid. Household power bills will not be affected or touched by this. We are looking at significant power generation through natural gas, which has, an emissions contribution to our air quality, a significant one when you're talking 9 gigawatts. And also, there's a water consumption issue here. This data center, if it's this large, is going to need a lot of water to cool it. Now, there are some advances out there that are being tested and sometimes even implemented on a smaller scale than this project, to be sure, where it's a contained system, where the water is, not constantly cycling through and being dumped right back out the other end. So it's a closed loop. I don't know if that's a part of this project. I do know that some of those contained systems that are operational are not nearly this large. I don't know if they can be made for this large. So again, this would be not only a data center in Box Elder County, this would be historically the largest off-grid power generation campus in North America. Privately owned, and a fair assumption here, Gupta told me, is that power generation would then be rented to other AI labs. And I said, what do you mean by that? And he said, somebody's going to be making a lot of money off of this. So again, it comes back to, I think, the most reasonable question that Box Elder County residents have raised is, what is the return on investment here for taxpayers? And those answers, hopefully they come. So that's where we're at on all this. Again, I've made phone calls, I've sent emails, I've sent texts, I've contacted everyone I possibly could on this. Everyone apparently wants to lay low until Monday. I'll keep hounding them. They know me. And Lee, if you're out there listening, I've got your cell phone number. I'm not going to stop. This is, again, this shouldn't be on any local officials' heads, I think. I get, that people feel the commission and the county there in Box Elder, many residents that I've spoken with in the last few days have told me they feel they weren't being dealt with transparently, that they were trying to just rush this through because they knew it'd be controversial. I think it's fair in their defense to remember that when META comes knocking and can throw around the military readiness thing, elected officials tend to say, okay, what choice do we have? So we'll see what happens with all this. But again, those are the details I've learned on this. 9 gigawatts of power generation, privately owned and operated, basically a power plant generating more electricity than the state of Utah uses. And then we'll be able to sell that, rent that, if you will, to other AI companies and endeavors. And this will be alongside an AI data center, processing center itself, which will need water cooling. There will be emissions in the air from this is a lot of natural gas this will be burning. So there are legitimate concerns here. We'll keep you posted. Again, I've linked to all of the resources that we were given as part of a media kit by Box Elder County and MEDA. I've linked to those on our Facebook page, coverage of what we saw in those specs and details that were put out as well at CacheValleyDaily.com. And we'll be back with more of For the People right after this. Look at the news with KVN News. Will Philwright.
Well, thanks, Jason. The Logan Fish Hatchery along Valley View Highway has released its first warm water fish, marking a historic milestone for the nearly century-old facility that's traditionally been known for raising cold water trout. Now, last month, the first walleye raised in the hatchery's new $8 million state-of-the-art recirculating aquaculture system was stocked into Willard Bay. Now, constructed by the Utah Division of Wildlife Resources, the 12,600 square foot building utilizes advanced filtration and adjustable water temperatures to optimize the growth of warm water sport fish, including channel catfish, walleye, and wipers. Now, the expansion doubles the hatchery's production capacity. Meanwhile, in other news, predictive markets company Kalshi has renewed its request for a federal preliminary injunction against Utah after state officials threatened enforcement actions under anti-gambling laws. Now, according to court documents, Utah plans to commence enforcement proceedings against the platform following a 30-day notice period. Now, state leaders maintain that predictive markets, which allows users to trade on real-world outcomes like sports and politics, constitute illegal gambling under the Utah Constitution. Now, Kalshi argues that its contracts are federally regulated by the Commodity Futures Trading Commission. Now, in an affidavit, Kalshi's head of markets stated that without an injunction, the company would face criminal liability or severe technological and financial harm if forced to continuously geolocate and block all Utah users. Now, U.S. District Judge Robert Shelby has taken Kalshi's request under advisement. A hearing, though, has not yet been scheduled. And finally, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has released details about the upcoming dedication this weekend of the Linden, Utah Temple that's scheduled to take place Sunday morning at 11 o'clock. Now, President Henry B. Eyring, the first counselor in the First Presidency, will be dedicating the 3-story temple that's at 850 East Center Street. Now, the ceremony will be broadcast to local congregations within the temple's district. Now, Elder Stephen R. Bangeter, Executive Director of the Temple Department, along with Elder Jorge T. Becerra of the Utah Area Presidency, are going to be accompanying Eyring during the proceedings. Now, announced back in October of 2020 by then-President Russell M. Nelson, the temple features design elements honoring the city's agricultural heritage, including harvest baskets and linden tree motifs. Now, the Linden location is the 7th temple to open in Utah County. Utah is currently home to 32 temples, with 5 more under construction, including the Smithfield Utah Temple. Well, some clouds still this afternoon, as it doesn't look like we're going to see much rain through the rest of the day, but these clouds will eventually start to move out of the area by tonight, as temperatures will be down into the mid-30s tomorrow. Warmer weather, highs expected to be in the low 60s with a mix of sun and clouds. And as we continue towards the weekend, warmer temperatures coming. Still looking at the possibilities of 70s on Friday and staying in the low 70s for Saturday and Sunday. And bringing you our weather here at the bottom of the hour is the Lawn Doctor. Regular visits from the Lawn Doctor can help your lawn be healthier and pest-free. Get signed up today for their lawn treatment services at 753-LAWN or just go to lawndoctor.com. And I'm Will Theorite for KVNU News.
KVNU ABC News, I'm Dave Packard. Gas prices now at their highest level in 4 years. Fallout from the warning Ron. AAA's Aixa Diaz says a gallon of gas now sells at $4.23 on average.
We've seen a 20-cent jump in gas prices in the national average in just 1 week, and we're paying more than $1 than we were this time last year. And it has to do with crude oil prices.
In his last rate announcement as chairman, the Fed's Jerome Powell says interest rates will stay where they are. Pete Hegseth on the Hill, the defense secretary pushing for Congress to fund a massive $1.5 trillion Pentagon budget. That's a 50% increase. And for the first time, Hegseth revealing the cost of the war in Iran so far, about $25 billion. Right now, the Apex, North Carolina police evacuating a car wash due to what they call public threats toward President Trump. They say the messages were found written on the back of the windshield of a car. London police calling the stabbing of 2 men on a city street today an act of terrorism. This is ABC News.
Hey there, we'll get you back to the music soon, but quick question. Does your home ever feel a little off? Like one room feels fine, but the next room is too hot or too cold. You might even feel a draft of air. Well, that's not supposed to happen. And that's where Cardall's insulation comes in. Cardall's uses high-performance injection foam insulation that fills in the cracks and gaps. So you have a home that feels more comfortable in every room. And spring is the perfect time to get it done before that summer heat shows up and your AC starts working overtime. Call Cardall's Insulation at 755-5012. That's 755-5012.
Hey Utah, have you heard? Nuclear energy might be coming to our state. Now, before your brain jumps straight into sci-fi movies, let's talk about what nuclear actually does. Nuclear technology helps power our nation's submarines, supports life-saving cancer treatments, and produces reliable electricity for millions of homes. That said, nuclear power also comes with a lot of misconceptions. Don't worry, we get it. Energy decisions matter, and Utahns deserve the facts. Learn more about nuclear and what it can mean for you. Visit energy.utah.gov/nuclear.
I'm Jay Sallin, founder of Allen Law. My focus has always been helping families protect what matters most through meaningful estate planning. I've now joined forces with attorney mediator Chris Guyman of the Conflict Resolution Center and seasoned litigator Sam Goebel to form the Allies Law Firm. Whether you're planning ahead, resolving marital conflict, or facing a courtroom battle, we bring strategy, strength, and experience together under one roof. Because when it matters most, you deserve the Allies Law Firm. Call the Allies Law Firm today. We plan, we fight, you win.
Spring revives everything. Your weekend plans, your sense of adventure, and your drive. If you've been putting off that upgrade, this is the moment to get behind the wheel of something new. Come experience the Revive and Drive event today at Murdoch Volkswagen. This month, receive 0% for 5 years on a new Atlas or lease a new Jetta for $299 per month. You've got to come and see us at Murdoch Volkswagen in Logan or online at murdochvw.com.
Call 888-391-6083 or see dealer for complete details. Offer expires 4/30/26.
Get your cooling fixed, call Gary Riggs. Get your AC fixed, call Gary Riggs. If you're having cooling problems, we're here to get them fixed. Just pick up the phone and call Gary Riggs. 435-512-6633. We'll come to you. Our service fee is low, just $25. We repair all brands and have certified installers. Get your cooling fixed, call Gary Riggs. Get your AC fixed, call Gary Riggs.
I'm Larry Gelwicks, the Getaway Guru. Join me on The Travel Show every Saturday at 11 a.m., and I'll tell you where to go and how to get there with the best travel deals on the planet, including how to travel more and pay less, free this and free that promotions, and insider secrets on what the airlines, cruise lines, and hotels don't want you to know, along with your call-in travel questions every Saturday, 11 a.m., right here on News Talk 610 KVNU.
News for the people. One last item on the Box Elder County AI data center brouhaha, I think is a good word for it. The candidates who have weighed in, Solid Tribune has kind of a rundown of what candidates have said throughout the state. And again, this is part of this is that the whole data center thing, not just this project, but the whole data center thing has become a bit of a hot button issue, maybe even a litmus test in certain congressional House races, but in some states, even local races. And it looks like this is kind of taking shape to be the same thing here. So the Salt Lake Tribune reached out to the big names, the big races, and amidst this outcry. Again, at the local level, state legislative candidates, both Republicans and Democrats alike, have weighed in, staked out some ground. A lot of them are just saying what I'm saying here, which is, this is Utah's Military Installation Development Authority, MEDA, in being involved. This, even though it requires approval by county commissioners, this may be a situation where the state doesn't have a choice. Some other candidates have been outright in defense of it, saying, this will create thousands of jobs, power itself, and even one day supply power for buildings at Hill Air Force Base, and will clean the water it uses before sending it on to the Great Salt Lake. Now, those details are not in the media kit I received that we saw here. So if they have that information, they got it elsewhere. We'll see. And again, that could all be very true. So it's worth just kind of watching how this plays out at this point. Other candidates have noticeably remained silent. A spokesperson for Congressman Blake Moore said the lawmaker had no immediate comment, and said that, our spokesperson for Congressman Moore's office in D.C. said that the congressman had no immediate comment. This wasn't an issue that had been on their radar, and that they'd be getting back to the media. And a campaign spokesperson did not respond to the Salt Lake Tribune. State Representative Carrie Ann Lisenby, who's challenging Moore in this primary election that's underway, also did not respond to repeated requests for comment. Salt Lake Tribune and the Deseret News reported. So I think people, candidates would be smart, I think, on this one to stay away from it. You're only going to make it worse. These issues, again, are already pretty politicized in other states. Candidates weighing in, that's really the only contribution they can offer is politicizing it. Democrats are all over this one. They see an opportunity, and you can't really blame them. And they've been, as a party, the state party has been clear, not in opposition to the proposal, but saying these processes need to be far more transparent, because the impact on the community, the ramifications are decades, if not generations, of Box Elder residents who will be affected by this. So you should have to give them every detail before you move forward. And I feel like that's a very reasonable position for anyone to take. And I'm surprised that Republican candidates let the Democrats get the best of them on that one and stake out that ground first. I'm guessing all political candidates are eventually going to come around to that position. And if we hear anything, we'll let you know. I did throw out a few feelers just before the show today to some of our local elected officials, and I did reach out to Senator Scott Sandel. To be fair, none of them have been directly involved in any of this, the decision-making or the process through MEDA or itself. But as they get up to speed, I would expect to hear back from them. So they are our local leaders here in northern Utah. Generally don't run away from an issue, but I'll let you know as soon as we hear from any of them. So that's the final word on that. If you want to know more, many people have asked, what does this hyperscale thing mean? The word itself can mean a lot of different things. When it's used in this capacity, what it means is moving basically very quickly and building, probably one of the largest projects AI data center wise to date. As I mentioned, this would be historic here in the nation, not just Utah, for the 9 gigawatt power generation plant that would be constructed on site as part of this project. It would be the largest single power generation plant to be privately owned in American history. So, yeah, this one isn't going away, nor should it. And again, I think we all everyone in northern Utah owes a tip of the hat a vote of thanks to the Box Elder County residents that have been paying attention to this, been following it, and got it in everyone's spotlight by raising a stink about it at the county commission meeting. To say this needs to be a far more open and transparent process. And I would agree. The nerd side of me, knowing a bit about how these data centers work and what they're for, the ramifications of this are cultural in a lot of ways. And so beyond even, potential pollution and water usage and whether or not these thousands of jobs that are being touted are permanent or temporary, those are all really relevant questions. But I think we also need to ask larger questions about where all this is headed. I'm still not convinced this AI thing isn't an oversold bubble where you have a lot of investors who have put a lot of money on the line very early because, once again, they fell for the tech bros talking about how cool it was going to be, and now they're just trying to prop the whole thing up so they can cash out with at least not very much lost before the bubble bursts. Because I'm telling you, everything I've seen, speaking with my nerd hat on here, artificial intelligence, one, is not even close to artificial intelligence, and two, is pretty half-baked at this point. And we're rushing it into use in too many scenarios, which brings me back to, again, one of my favorite bills that's been introduced by Utah representative recently regarding AI, Congressman Blake Moore's AI toy ban. This sounds almost, ridiculous on the outset that, why would a member of Congress care about, software technology and children's toys? Well, the reason is that in testing that's been done when these chatbots have been used, there was a member of Congress just this week who at an event proudly declared, not realizing everyone was going to kind of raise an eyebrow, if not outright mock him online afterwards, that he lets AI read stories to his children at nights, which, one, you're a bad parent. I'm going to go ahead and be judgmental in that scenario. Good for you for being concerned about your children being read to, but you're letting the software do it instead of being there yourself? Come on, man. But second, a lot of these AI chatbots tend to wander a bit, and Congressman Moore's bill acknowledges that, citing some specific examples where children in test scenarios just start asking normal questions that children would ask of an AI chatbot, and within minutes, the AI chatbot was offering up responses that, were some things that I'm guessing most parents wouldn't want their fifth grader learning in fifth grade. And it didn't take very long for the chatbot to go there along certain lines of questioning from children. So Congressman Moore's bill says basically, do not put this in toys at this point. And I believe the bill creates a sort of a threshold for when we can look at it again and say, okay, it's advanced enough now you could reliably put it in toys for children that might be playing with the toy unattended. But for now, the stories of AI chatbots encouraging people with experiencing a mental health crisis to harm themselves, to stories, again, of young children in test scenarios just being put down in front of a toy with an AI chatbot installed and talking to it, asking it questions. And pretty soon the AI chatbot was explaining some pretty adult-themed stuff to the kids. I'm with Congressman Moore. This is not ready for prime time and is definitely not ready to be put in children's toys yet. But again, bring that up because I think when it comes to the Box Elder Data Center, we should be talking about that too. This AI, this bandwagon, it might have some meat to it. I think it does have some meat to it. I think AI is a part of our technological future. I truly think that. But I think it's been widely oversold, mostly by the people who have money on the line that need people to keep investing or the bubble bursts. Because from what I'm seeing, it's just not where the developers claim it is. So we'll see where it all goes. But Monday, 4 o'clock, Box Elder County Fairgrounds in Tremonton at the Fine Arts Building. Public meeting being held for people to come, ask questions, get more information about this Stratus data center project, the media push behind it, and the approval process that for now is on hold within Box Elder County. All the details on this on our Facebook page and at CashValleyDaily.com, and we'll be back right after this.
News Talk 610 AM, 102.1 FM, KVNU.
Hola, Cache Valley. It's time to turn up the music, bring your appetite, and celebrate at this year's Cinco de Mayo Community Celebration, happening Saturday, May 2nd from noon until 8 at the Cache County Fairgrounds. Feel the energy of live music, from mariachi rhythms to crowd-favorite performers. Come hungry, because you'll find dozens of vendors serving up incredible food, from authentic Mexican favorites to sweet treats you can't get enough of. And bring the kids, because this is a full-on family fiesta. Bounce houses, climbing walls, piñatas, and plenty more to keep them smiling all day. Best of all, admission is free and everyone is welcome. This year's Cinco de Mayo celebration is presented by DD Auto and Salvage. DD Auto Salvage gives you the most money for your old metal. Presto Products, now hiring. Apply for a career today at Presto Products in Lewiston. And Members First Credit Union, large enough to provide the services you need, small enough to provide the service you deserve. Bring your friends and family to this year's Cinco de Mayo Community Celebration, Saturday, May 2nd from noon until 8 at the Cache County Fairgrounds.
Here's Chad, the lawn doctor, with a tip for your lawn. Years ago, we introduced a two-step soil enrichment service to our weed and feed program. Here is what our customers have noticed: improved water retention, reduced compaction, stimulated root growth, and an increase in nutrient and fertilizer uptake, resulting in a greener and healthier lawn this summer. Add this popular two-step soil enrichment service to your lawn care program and get the second service half off.
Fertilizer, weed, and pest control. Call the Lawn Doctor at 753-LAWN or go to lawndoctor.com.
Calling all golfers. Now that the golf season is here, come experience Birch Creek and our summer golf leagues. Every Monday and or Tuesday is Couples League. Men's League is any time of the day, Monday through Thursday. Ladies League is Wednesday or Thursday. Call Birch Creek today for information regarding our Summer Couples League, Men's and Ladies League. That's Birch Creek Golf Course in Smithfield.
Hi, this is Gordon Deal. Thursday on This Morning, America's First News, with Jerome Powell likely exiting as chair of the Fed. What does Kevin Warsh inherit as he prepares to assume the lead job at the central bank? Also, as consumers were starting to draw the line on some spending where prices are rising, here are examples of how Americans calculate, and flyers who think airport lounges are no longer worth it. Thursday on This Morning, America's First News. From 4 to 6 on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102 FM. Your station for news and talk.
Wrapping up today's show with some Main Street Logan construction news. I mentioned this yesterday. Logan City had said that since last Thursday, the inclement weather had delayed some of the construction that they were actually ahead of schedule on because things have been so warm through February and March and most of April. But the wet conditions meant they had to pause a part of this project that involves laying some pretty big things in the ground for this pedestrian underpass. Can't do that when it's soggy and wet. So things on hold for a little bit, but that originally meant that a shifting of the so right now, if you've been through this area towards the south end of Logan near the Y, as it's known, the two lanes of traffic are right next to each other, basically occupying what is normally the two northbound lanes. Now you have north and southbound lanes in that area. Starting Monday, Logan City wants drivers to know about this. Starting Monday, that will shift to the west side of the road. So they've basically dug beneath the road once things dry out a little bit. And over this weekend, they'll be working round the clock all the way through the weekend. So once things dry out a little bit, they'll get what they need to in place there, and then they will shift the two lanes side by side that are now currently occupying both of what are originally the northbound lanes. That will shift to the southbound lanes. So be aware of that as you come into town. That's going to be a little confusing for everyone, I think, as you come in, especially if you're coming in from that east side along the Providence Way, coming into Logan. So yeah, just be aware of that. Starting Monday, The 2 lanes each direction that are side by side there are currently occupying both what is normally the northbound lanes of Main Street. That will be shifted entirely to the west side. And so that's going to be, that's going to be a pretty confusing traffic pattern, to say the least. But Logan City officials did tell me that despite the rain that kind of slowed them down for this particular leg of the project this week, they are still quite a bit ahead on this due to the warmer temperatures the last couple of months. And so they said that they expect this project to still finish at very least on time, possibly a bit earlier, but still a long way to go as well. As far as some times of full closure of Main Street, there are still a couple of days of that coming up through the project as weather warms. We'll keep you posted when that's going to happen. Those are going to be some ugly traffic days. But more about this at loganutah.gov, and I've linked to it on our Facebook page. And Dave Ramsey